All right, next we're going to go over the elliptical tool, and this one is really fun to work with. It has several options, or really just 3 options, but more than the other ones had. The first one is center, to measure from the center, and if you hold over it, it shows you the instructions. If you click on the center point, which is 1, then you can move out to click number 2 in green there, and that will establish the width of your ellipse. And then of course your third click, I'll show you kind of how that third click works. Let's go ahead and select that. So here's the center of my ellipse. Okay, I'm going to stretch it out. I want it to be about this wide. So I'm going to click right there. That's about 27 feet according to this. All right, now my third click is going to basically determine how tall I want my ellipse. I guess you'd call it the tall. And it really doesn't matter where you're at there. It's measuring based on how far you pull the cursor away from the center, all right, to establish your ellipse. Okay. The second option for the ellipse is axis end. Okay. Now instead of measuring from the center, it's going to measure from end. So I click here where I want my ellipse, the end of it, to be, and I can stretch it, let's say down this time, and click, and then stretch it for how wide I want it. Okay, and you see my measurement is going off of this end over here instead of the width. Fourth is we have the elliptical arc. This is how, let's say you don't want a whole ellipse, but you just want kind of the arc of the ellipse. All right, so you click where you want to start. That's your first point. And then you click your second point, which is going to establish your width here. And I move this back and forth. Okay, and you know, it's making it wider. So I click another time, a third click. Now there's a fourth click I need to make. Okay, and that is specifying the start angle. Okay, and let's say I start my angle right here, just perfectly, you know, 90 degrees out to the right, right along the x-axis. Okay, now here, that's where I can start drawing just partial of that ellipse. And then, sorry. Okay, and then we have that partial ellipse. So let me go back here. I don't think I really covered everything on those. This is just the plain center ellipse, measuring from the center out to the side, and we stretch. Okay, doesn't matter which way. Now if you want your ellipse to go in the other direction, say stretch from left to right, you just do this, click, and you drag down. Okay, now it's stretching from left to right. And the axis end kind of works the same way. Click here, go down, and then it stretches out from side to side. And same thing if you start dragging in the other direction, it goes up and down. Okay, and just to get a little clearer idea on that, let's see. It really doesn't work much different than the center axis. And let's see, I don't think I really noticed exactly how that worked differently. What it says here is the first 2 points of the ellipse determine the location and length of the first axis. Okay, location and length of the first axis. Let's try that. Location and length. Click again. And then the third click, really it's just doing the same thing that the other one was doing. From the center, pull down, stretch it out. Oh, wait a minute, I see. This one is truly measuring from the center. If you see where the center is there and how I made that ellipse. So it measured, let's say I did it at about, let's see, 41 feet. So basically a 41 foot radius there to start with, and then as I stretch, Of course, it stretches along the opposite axis. Now, if we do the end axis end, if I click here and stretch, watch where how my width is going to be measured. Okay, it's actually, I clicked when I originally clicked, I clicked right up here at the top, not where the center is. I clicked at the top, and it established the center from that click, and from that in my second click. I know that's very difficult to understand. Let me see if I can. Okay, let's say I want to put one right here in this rectangle. All right, I'm gonna click right here on the side. That's where I want the end of it to fall. I'm gonna stretch this way, and I want it to come to about right there. Click, and there we go. Okay, so I just wanted it to go across just like that. Now, try the same thing with the center. Okay, so now if I click here, it's basically establishing where the center of my, where'd it go? Try it again. Where the center of my ellipse is going to be. So I'm going to stretch out here. Specify distance to other axis. It's really tripping out on me right now. Okay, specify the center of the ellipse, which is right here. Specify endpoint. Let's do it right there. Okay, there we go. Now, as you see, I clicked on the line just like I did in the previous one, but it did not put the edge of the ellipse on that line. It put just now it put the center of the ellipse on that line. Okay, so that's the center ellipse, and then of course the end axis ellipse would have placed the edge of that on that line, just like this. Okay, so that did not extend out beyond the square itself. Okay, and then of course the elliptical arc is pretty self-explanatory, making your elliptical arcs like that. Okay, well next we're going to go over, let's see if we want to go over this one. Let's see. Yeah, let's go over the hatch and stuff. We'll do that.